Okay, so if you guys recall from our last lesson on Friday, we started out this problem, we got to a point where we had a quadratic. Thank you. We had a quadratic, and we stopped there because we needed some review on quadratic equations and how to factor. So, first step when we're dealing with quadratic, what do we have to do with this in order to solve it? Square it? Not square it. We did that right here to get rid of our radical. Charlie?
Make it equal 0.
Make it equal 0. Good. So we're going to move this x over, and we're going to move this 2 over. Okay, and whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So that gives us our x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. Okay? Now from there, we have an actual quadratic. So we have a couple options. We have graphing. We have the quadratic formula. We have factoring. Okay? The quickest of the three is? The quickest of the three? Factoring. Okay? Let's go through factoring. All right. So, two things that multiply to make negative 2 and add 2. Negative 1.
Negative 2 and 1.
Negative 2 and 1. All right. Negative 2 and 1. Our a term's 1, so we don't have to worry about that dividing by a here. So we get x minus 2 and x plus 1. We put them in. We divide by 1. It doesn't matter. So this tells us from this set, remember, if this times this has to make 0, then one of those two things has to be 0. So that means x minus 2 equals 0. We solve that. What makes x minus 2 equal 0?
Positive 2.
Positive 2. And x plus 1 equals 0.
Negative 1.
Good. Negative 1. All right. So our two solutions, 2 and negative 1. If you recall from Friday, from our last lesson, we talked about having to test each of these, because sometimes when we square both sides, we could get extra solutions or extraneous solutions. So when I put 2 back in, let's test it out. When I put 2 back in for x, I get 2 equals 2 plus 2, the square root of 2 plus 2. Is that true? Is that right?
Yes.
You sure?
I'm positive. I second that motion.
Okay, 2 plus 2 is 4. The root of 2 is, or root of 4 is?
2.
2. That works. Okay, so let's try putting negative 1 in then. If I put negative 1 in, it's negative 1 plus 2.
1.
1. Okay, what's the square root of 1?
1.
It's 1. Is it negative 1?
No.
No, it's 1. Notice here it says the radical equals a negative. Is that possible? Can we ever take the square root of something and get a negative number? No. So this one is called extraneous. Okay? Extraneous. It's an extra solution. We cross that one out. That one doesn't work when we put it back in. That happens sometimes when we square to solve. Okay, you can get these extra solutions because you're going from a degree of 1 to a degree of 2, which gives us, in order to solve it, we can get 2 solutions versus 1 solution. Okay? Any questions on that? All right, I want you guys to try number 20. Give it a go on your own there. See how far you can get. Okay, let's see how we did here. Hey, what's the first thing we had to do?
Be magical.
Rena? Good, square both sides. All right? By squaring both sides, that ends up with a quadratic on this side, x squared, and over here we end up with? X plus 12. Okay? Now what do we do? Go ahead, Ethan.
Set it equal to 0.
Good, set it equal to 0. So we've got to subtract the x and subtract the 12. So we end up with x squared minus x minus 12 all equals 0. Wait, our line kind of got, there we go. Just go like that. Okay. Factoring. Yep, what do you got?
Negative 3 and 4.
Good. So two things to multiply to make negative 12 and add to negative 1. We get negative 3 and positive 4.
Negative 4. Negative 3.
Negative 4 and positive 3. Okay. Good. So you may have been reading off your answers. Possible. X plus 3, x minus 4. Do we need to divide by a here? Why not? Because what?
Because A is 1.
Good, because a is 1, and we divide by 1. It doesn't matter, right? The number out in front of x squared is 1. So, x plus 3 equals 0 when?
3.
When x equals
Negative 3.
-3. That might have been what you're doing there. Is that what you're doing? Okay. X minus 4 equals 0 when? X is 4. Good. So we got our two solutions. We test them both out. 4 equals, what's 4 plus 12?
16.
16. A root of 16, is that 4?
Yes.
Good. Put negative 3 in. Negative 3 plus 12 is?
9.
9. And
Last time.
okay, while you guys are finishing that up, I'm going to put up the top row here. See how you're doing.
What?
It's McCoy. It's super blurry.
Super, super blowy.
Unbelievable. This is the laser.
So cool.
Your hair's messed
You
up.
didn't work hard enough.
Your hair's messed up. You have good hair. You have good hair. What's better? Oh. Hey, I see some blue stuff. No, how it is. Is he still think the moon was
And you have
the moon is ginormous.
yeah, it's kind of much.
Yeah.
Comes close to the earth.
All right, you're going to be in here. You can't sleep.
Where's the
People like it.
It's the same one you had up
What? No, it's an optional practice. So I don't have to go. Because our games don't start till May, so you technically don't have to go to practice. It's not mandatory until after spring break. That's Charles, I'm a big league. Big league chicken. Gotta catch them all. 36. 60. 45. Ooh, number 21, both of them were. As you can see, and most of McCoy's is nothing.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there are 21 and 22. Now, were any of those solutions extraneous? KK? Okay, -1 was extraneous. Yep, a root can't equal a negative. We didn't get a negative here. Do both 4 and 5 work? Yeah? Let's try them. 9 times 4 is? 36 minus 20. Come on, man. 36 minus 20? 16. The root of 16 is? 4. Good, that works. 9 times 5?
45.
45 minus 20?
25.
25. Root of 25 is?
5.
5. Good. They both work. All right, so we got two solutions there. Okay, last piece. I want you guys to skip down to problem 27.
It looks hard.
Whoa. Calm down.
Actually, let's skip down to 28. Let's try that one first.
No.
Okay,
No, I'm going to go 27 first.
here we go. Everyone read it to yourselves, please.
This is very confusing.
And so a lot of times in science we have to use these different formulas, and knowing what the formulas mean, they help us, knowing what each of the variables mean, they help us define different measures here. So we have velocity, right? The speed, v, is the root of f. What's f? Good. Centripetal force. R, radius, and m. Good. Mass. All right. So it says find R when F equals 6 newtons, M equals 2 kilograms, and V equals 3 meters per second. All right. So we've got to take our formula. Let's rewrite it here. And the first thing we're going to do, we have to plug all those things in. So notice we have that F, R, and M. So we're solving for, what are we solving for in A?
R.
R, that means we need to leave R in our equation, or in our formula there. So notice I put a set of parentheses where the F is. I'm going to put a set of parentheses where the M is. I should have put a set of parentheses where else? What's that? Yeah, where the V is, because they give us the V. All of those things they give us. So we're going to substitute those pieces in there. So V equals 3. F is 6. And 2. Okay? What do we do now? We're trying to get R alone. What are the things we need to get rid of on this side?
Where was that?
Brina?
Yeah, I'm not finding where to go.
Right here.
I should be at R alone.
Yep, try to get R alone.
Might have done that wrong.
Any ideas?
I have an idea.
What do you got?
You square both sides.
Square both sides. That'll get rid of the root.
Pow.
Total pow. All right, we get 9. And that equals what's inside, right? These things cancel out. So we're left with 6R over 2. Hey, can we reduce that?
Right. Wait. No,
What is 6R over 2? What's half of 6R? 3R, yeah. So 3R equals 9. What's 1R? Yeah, 3. 3 times 3 is 9. R equals 3. 3 what? No, R equals 3. What's our measure here? R is in what?
R is in meters.
Yeah, it's in meters. How do we know it's meters?
That's a big radius.
We're dealing with velocity, right? And that's in meters. We're going to go with meters here. Do they actually say meters up here?
R.
Yeah, that's for the velocity.
Actually, it's probably like,
We're going to say meters.
it's probably like the year.
3 meters. I want everyone to try B.
B. B.
Okay, here we go. This time we're finding F.
I guess they're charging what?
Need your attention back up here.
So they're charging.
So velocity equals our F, the square root of F times R all over M. And this time we're replacing velocity. Velocity here is 2. We're replacing R. R is 1. And it's 1 meter, so we were right on our measure earlier, as Charlie pointed out there. And M is 3. Okay? So we have 2 equals 1F, the square root of 1F over 3. We need to get rid of that radical by squaring both sides. Okay? That ends up giving us 4 equals F over 3. Now we multiply both sides by 3 and we get F equals 12. Force is measured in what?
Newtons.
Newtons.
Fabio.
12 newtons.